Greetings and welcome back to Cooking with Pasta. Today, finally, we can do a request, and that request is, let the camera pick it up, shepherd's pie, and the request comes from Artist 10. It was one of the first bunch of requests with the new series, so I took that because I like shepherd's pie, but I never did it myself, so yeah. This time, let's try it. So, first of all, we will need some potatoes. We will peel them later, cut them, cook them, and mash them. And we will need some minced beef. I think you can do that with lamb as well, but lamb is quite expensive. So, yeah, it depends on what you want and like. We will need one red onion, not too big. We don't want onion stew or something, we just want a nice oniony flavor. Some cheese for grinding, or grating, I think it is in this case. This is some Gouda, but I think you can take pretty much every other cheese you like. Last time I totally forgot to actually mention this ingredient, which is just some milk for the mashed potatoes. We will need a little bit of tomato paste and some ground beef stock, which we can then pour into water. And in terms of seasoning, we have a lot today. First of all, some salt, both for the potato water and for seasoning. Some pepper, freshly ground pepper. We do have some thyme, which I do like to use every time. Pretty much every time, not every time. Rosemary, same. And some oregano. Then we want some sweet paprika, as well as some cayenne pepper for a little bit hotness. If you don't like hot and spicy food, just leave it out. Cayenne pepper is making food a little bit hotter. And last but not least, some ground garlic, always nice for cooking. Alright, with this bunch of ingredients, let's start. Right, I took the liberty of preparing the potatoes, so now let's put around a tablespoon of salt in there. And if you want, put some of the soup stock in there as well. That will prevent us from using too much salt later on. Anyways, put a lid on it and start the stove. The potatoes need to cook before we start the timer. So we will leave that, and in the meantime we can prepare other stuff. So let me prepare the onion real quick. Cut it as per usual. Get rid of the outer layer because that is most of the time where the nasty part lies. Aha, there we go. Now this looks pristine. Don't need that. Can go here. Right. And we do now want little onion pieces, and let me prepare the onion accordingly. I'm not cutting entirely through, so that if I do it correctly, I can chop the onions like this. Yeah, as it works more or less, but the problem is my knife is not the sharpest anymore. Yeah, sadly. I think I need to get it to a sharpener or something, so that it is nice and sharp again. Anyways. Let's do the same with the other onion. Half. Preparing it. There we go. That went a little bit better. Still not good, but nah, I don't care. I really don't. Okay. Onions. Nice. Okay, now, as this is everything we need to prepare in terms of stuff we need to fry. Oh, first of all, of course, I've totally forgot some ingredients, which is 1, some oil for frying, and 2, since we are making mashed potatoes basically, some nutmeg. I think in the terms of how many ingredients those are, I totally forgot that. Let's prepare the pan. A little bit of the oil in there, and I can put the onions in there as well. Get rid of the cutting board. Right. Put this on the right place on the stove and start the stove as well. Not on highest setting, but a good high setting. First I will fry the onions a little bit so they get a bit of color. Afterwards I will add the meat and the other ingredients. But that takes some time, the potatoes take some time cooking as well, so I'll bring you back in a few minutes. The onions are now nice and glazed, not really getting any color, but it's not needed for this dish anyway, so yeah. The pan is hot enough so I can add the big ball of meat. And now, yeah, we will fry that as well. I'm not on the highest setting on my stove. It is a high setting but not the highest, because I don't want to burn the onions or anything else for that matter. First I need to get this ball cut down a little bit so it actually fits into the pan. Nearly cooking the potatoes, or at least nearly boiling. And what you want to do with the meat is cut it into smaller and smaller pieces and brown it from all sides. And this is what I will do in the next couple of minutes until the potatoes start boiling, or the potato water starts boiling. Still cutting down that meat, but the potato water started boiling, so I start the timer. About 18 minutes. Heat of that goes down to about medium heat, which is 5 of 9 on my stove. I'll leave the lid like this, and it's actually balanced. Cool. So yeah, I turned down the heat on the meat as well, because it was getting a little bit too far ahead in terms of getting brown and such. So it's now on, let me think, 2/3. So about medium heat as well, but a little bit higher. And I'm still cutting it and browning it from all sides. And when that's done, I'll bring you back in, because then we start adding things to the meat, which will then add flavor to the shepherd's pie later. Right, the meat is now brown from all sides, as it is supposed to be. So heat stays on this level for now. And we will now add some tomato paste, about a tablespoonful. Don't be too don't withhold on that too much, because it will add flavor, as pretty much everything will in terms of seasoning and stuff you can add to a sauce. Although this is not really a sauce, but it can't taste, or it mustn't taste bland. If it just tastes bland and dull, you don't want to eat it. Right, tomato paste needs to melt a little bit more, so every bit of meat gets a little bit of tomato paste. So now what we can do is add some more spices. So some pepper to your liking. I can't stress that enough. If you don't like a lot of pepper, don't add too much. Turn down the heat to about lower medium. No, that was the potatoes. I do need that. I'm putting it down to about 4 of 9. Now some garlic powder, some thyme, rosemary, which is good for all shortly fried foods, oregano. Oh, well, that thing is empty. Then some paprika. Nah. There are, of course, thousands of variants you can do of those, of that. I actually talked to April about that before. She uses curry as well as some other stuff. Sounds very much interesting, especially in terms of the vegetables you can use in there. I'm doing a very, very basic variant, so it's easy to cook. And yeah, if you want to experiment with that, please do so. And if you did experiment with that after doing that, please tweet me a picture. I want to see that, and I want to know what you used in that. I think that's a cool thing. So I added all the spices which I showed you before, so the cayenne pepper as well. I haven't added any salt, which I will do by now adding a little bit of ground soup stock. I'm mainly using that because it has more spices in there than only salt. I don't want to use too much though. And now, of course, for the mixing. So what I will do now is leave this on small heat so it stays warm. I will actually taste it and see if it needs more salt. And I think it would be good if you do the same. What you can do in the meantime is preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius, that is, not Fahrenheit. And prepare a, what you call it, a thing you can put in the oven from silicone or ceramics. It depends. Anyways, I will turn down the heat a little and I will bring you back in once we start doing the mashed potatoes and preparing the actual shepherd's pie. Welcome back! I miscalculated with the 18 minutes. About 15 minutes have passed and the potatoes are done. So I can turn off the stove on pretty much everything. This goes into the oven form right away. Since I will not do anything in terms of shifts and levels, I will just put the meat down in there and the mash goes on top. I think that's pretty nice and it works for me. Of course you can do some fancy doing layers and whatever, but on most recipes I've found on this, surprisingly the meat is here on the ground. So, hot plate, I have to be careful with that. Let me get a sieve or a colander to get rid of the potato water. Yep, there we go, potatoes. Right, I do now possess a proper mashing device, or stomping device as I call it. So now, let's slowly add some milk. As I will do this by feeling, I suppose it will be somewhat around 100 to 200 milliliters. So we shall see, I suppose. Some nutmeg in there, and of course some pepper right away. And now, let's start mashing. Oh, that's a lot easier than last time, to be honest. Nearly takes the fun out of that, to be honest. Actually, you can use butter in there as well to make it a little bit more moist. You do need something that has a little fat in there. I use the milk, it has the natural 3.8% fat. And now don't comment something saying like, hey, you can use skimmed milk. No. I will not use skimmed milk. I do like milk with the proper fat percentage of 3.8 or even 3.5. It's a lot better, in my opinion. Of course, people have other opinions, but yeah, milk has to be milk, not some watered down shit. I think a little bit more, so it's nice and moist. There we go. Afterwards I have to actually take a taste. So that I know if I have enough salt in there and other spices. So much easier. Okay, let's give it a taste. Yeah, some salt would be nice. Apart from that, it actually tastes quite nice. I don't eat potatoes very often, to be honest, because in our cantina at work, they tend to use, or they do use those tinned potatoes, which don't really taste like potatoes at all. So I refrain from doing so, or actually doing that. Now, what I totally forgot, of course, is the cheese, which still lies pre-packed in my possession. So let me grate some cheese, and afterwards we prepare the shepherd's pie, put it in the oven, and wait some more. Right, now I'm prepared, hopefully. Yeah, I prepared the cheese, and we don't need much cheese, to be honest, but still. Now the mashed potatoes go on top, and I will distribute that a little bit better momentarily. But first I need to get it out of the pot, and there we go. Yoink, go away. And now I do need another spoon to get this going. If you want to make it look nice, there are those plastic thingies used for cookies and such. You can distribute the mashed potatoes with that quite nicely. But I think with the spoon it actually doesn't look half bad. Yoink. So yeah, I think it's enough to use that. Get it in every corner so that it's covered with the mashed potatoes entirely. I need more from there. Good thing I took the large oven thing, otherwise it wouldn't have fit. Right, okay, it's now sealed off, more or less. What you can do if you like is, let me get this even. Of course there is a lack of evenness here. You can put some butter on top if you like. I don't know, some mashed potatoes. I won't do that for now because I don't want a crust. I'll just grind some cheese on top. Not much. As it isn't a proper gratin thingamajig. It's just to give it a little bit of a nicer peeling. I will... One moment. There we go. Yoink. Now distribute that a little bit more. Yeah, as you can see, just a little bit of cheese so that it looks nice and crisp when we take it out of the oven. In terms of the oven, we need to put it in there for 20 minutes to get it all nice and crisp and moist and whatnot. 200 degrees, as I said, in the middle. And I will do that now, and I will bring you back in when I'm ready to serve. Just as a small teaser how it looks when it's done, I'll bring you straight to the table now because I don't want to show you how I basically mutilate this thing by trying to get it on my plate. And here we go, shepherd's pie, as done by me. It doesn't look half bad now, does it? Thank you again, artists, for bringing me that request. If anyone else of you, and you of course as well, artists, if you want to leave a request, which I should do in one of the future times, just post it in the comments below and I shall do that somewhere in the future. I certainly hope you enjoyed this. If you did, a rating would be much appreciated, as well as other comments as well. And I certainly hope to see you next time as well. Until then, yours faithfully, the Pastafarian.